The New York Latino Film Festival kicked off the month by shining a light on Latino filmmakers from around the world and also their stories.
And joining us with a recap of the film festival, where you can still watch them, and the importance of Latinos in the film industry, is founder of the New York Latino Film Festival, Calixto Chinchilla. Good morning and welcome to New York Living.
Fresh off, I'm going to blow up your spot. He's like, we ended the party at the festival last night, and
Yes.
I partied until 10:32.
Don't plus spot.
Wow.
But yeah,
Up late.
it was crazy. We
Yeah.
took over Dykeman, had this huge block party, showed
Awesome.
this premiere of a film called Winter Ball. We had a concert. It was really just, a we outside kind of moment for
Yeah.
the culture. So
Yeah.
we're really happy.
Good times.
Yeah.
First of all, it's nice to finally meet you in person.
Same
I've
here.
heard your name for years and years because you have been one of the beacons of Latinos in film.
Yeah.
And what the film festival has been around since 1999.
Yeah, 22 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, she barely
Even
looks,
in pandemic, we still
she
did
barely looks like she's 3 years old.
Yeah.
She's because Latinos don't, we age in reverse.
it. Yes.
Recap,
Yeah, what were the
recap some
highlights
of the film festival
this year?
for us.
Just amazing. I mean, we opened with this film called Habla Loud, which is features a bunch of Latino testimonials from folks like Residente. We had the former mayor of San Juan, Carmen Yulin. We had so many different folks, and really, Habla Loud will premiere on HBO on October 7th, but that was a big premiere. We did the 35th anniversary of La Bamba. So throughout the festival, last 2 or 3 years, we've been doing big anniversary moments. We did Raising Victor Vargas last year, and then a year before that, we did I Like It Like That. So we do like full cast reunions.
Oh my gosh.
And stuff like that.
Any surprises that came out of this year's festival in particular that struck you that said, woo, yeah, now we've got something
The
here.
culture's ready to be back in theaters. I think when we were coming back, we did the drive-ins for 2 years, and we did hybrid virtual stuff. But this year, we really made a pull to let's go back into theater.
Big screen stuff.
Yeah, and I think, you realize Latinos, we dominate in all this consumption of media and film. And so for us, it's like, yeah, they'll go see the Top Guns and the big franchises, but will they come back to see independent film?
Right.
Maybe film that doesn't star Tom Cruise or whoever. And the fact that they came through in record, it's just crazy.
Oh, that's impressive. That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no mystery that Latinos make up a third of the tapestry of this fine country of ours, and yet we are lacking severely in representation.
Yeah.
In other words, we don't really have a seat at the table, which is why the Latino Film Festival, the New York Latino Film Festivals, and all the Latino film festivals around the country are so important. What do you, and you don't have the absolute answer, but you've been doing this long enough, and I wonder what your observation is in terms of what we need to do to move forward so that at the Oscars we're not saying, where are all the black and brown folks?
Yeah. I think a lot of it is having seats on the corporate side. We need seats at the table. We need seats of authority to be able to move and create movement. And I think our shows need runway to take off and take flight. There's some shows that have weaker ratings that stay on for 2 or 3 seasons, and Latinos we get caught off at the ankles really quick. And so I think that there's a commitment. We need a deeper level of commitment from these media companies to not only invest in us, but really invest in us as individuals, as professionals, as creatives, and to get in those corporate positions of power that are really going to create movement, but also to give us the investment to get our shows to have traction and take off and do well.
I mean, the people who sign the checks for these things, obviously, my concept is that they're just not in touch with what the Latino community is producing in terms of its art, because they can't immediately identify with it. They just kind of look away from it. But there are great stories to be told. These are still stories of humanity.
Yeah.
They happen to be Latino stories, but they're still stories of humanity.
And that's our job, right? And so that's what we take over and say, you know what, this is what the culture is putting out. This is the talent. These are the creatives. And so the studio partners that we do work with, that's how we advocate, because I realized early on, I can't get angry at a system that doesn't know.
Right.
I can't get angry if you don't know.
It's ignorance to a degree,
Exactly.
to use that word, yeah.
So the thing is that, well, let me show you. Let me teach you.
Right.
We'll walk through it. We'll make some mistakes. We'll learn from
But
it.
But when do you say, okay, we've been teaching you for 20 years? At what point is the lesson? At what point is the lesson?
You know what? It's a
learned?
marathon.
Yeah.
It's not
It's
a
not a
sprint,
sprint.
right?
Yeah.
You know this, you've been in this game, you as well, it's a marathon and consistency. You got to stay consistent, because I have seen the change a little bit, you know what I mean? And so every little change you know, is a win, and you have to keep at it and keep at it. And so, you know, I don't want to mention names, but we've been fortunate that we made thrives with certain companies that will invest and say, hey, Calixto will give you this special, or we'll give you this money to identify this person, or we'll give you this leverage to do X, Y, and Z for us, to help us identify content creators, to help us identify talent. And then some of that we do on our own. So we actually launched an agency that services, you know, that does multicultural marketing. So we do a lot of multicultural marketing strategy.
Right, because you have to come at it from
all angles.
Every angle.
Every angle.
The marketing, the money,
Absolutely.
the accounting, the distribution, never mind just the creative. There's a gazillion creatives.
Sure.
But you need to take that seed
get the focus.
and grow it.
Yeah.
The film festival is over, but can folks still watch some of the films? If so,
so in
how?
fact, we actually have a couple of industry panels that are going to be premiering in the next week or so that are exclusively for virtual, that we did with some studio partners. So Universal Pictures, Sony, we have some exclusive
where can
stuff.
folks find that?
NYLatinoFilmFestival.com.
There you go.
And there's a lot of good stuff out there, so I think people will really enjoy it. And then we have plenty of recaps. Follow us on Instagram. We have an active community.
It's not going anywhere anytime
We're not
soon.
going anywhere.
So there you go. Calixto, thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Get some rest. You've been partying all weekend.
Take care.
For more information on the New York Film Festival, as he mentioned, NYLatinoFilmFestival.com.